let me tell you what I expected to feel when I decided to hop on TRT and what was the actual outcome, because it's one disadvantage that I do not like is so if you decide to hop on testosterone, say goodbye to those crazy How's it going, boys? In today's video, I want to update you on my recent testosterone replacement therapy. So I started supplementing on testosterone around a month ago, 4 weeks ago. And the outcome of taking testosterone was not as I exactly expected. And in today's video, I'm going to let you know why exactly. So the testosterone I have been taking is Enanthate, which is by a Moldovan company. This is testosterone enanthate, which means it takes 7 to 10 days to fully dissolve in the body. So you basically inject it and the body starts absorbing it slowly. There are faster acting testosterones, which I've tried in the past, like testosterone propionate, which gets in and out of the body in 48 hours. I like this one more because you have to inject less. And personally, I've had better experience using this kind of testosterone compared to the propionate. By the way, don't put anything in your body without consulting a doctor. I'm just like sharing with you what I'm personally doing. Now, usually when you inject testosterone enanthate, you inject it in the muscle. And injecting in the muscle is kind of painful, and you have to use those big ass needles that go through the skin, the fat, and then the tissue protecting the muscle, and it just like goes into the muscle, and then you inject it there. And your muscles are basically going to be sore for a few days after the injection. It's a painful injection and it's a scary injection. First time I injected myself, it took me like 30 minutes because I was just like shaking with the needle next to the fridge. But I found a better way to inject this testosterone enanthate. It doesn't work with all kinds of testosterone enanthate. It really depends on the kind of oil that they use. I'm gonna show you in a second here. So the bottles come like this, and you can immediately see by shaking the bottle if the oil is thick or it's thin. Now, if the oil is thick, you don't have much choice. You have to use the big needle, the big gauge, I don't know what you call it, the big injection basically, because otherwise the oil is too thick to be withdrawn into the needle. Now, this one, fortunately, is thick, but is not as thick. So I'm able to inject it using those little insulin needles. And those needles, you basically don't feel them. It's like a mosquito bite. But the thing is that it takes more time to kind of take it, to kind of put it into the needle, because the needle is just so thin, you can barely see it. And you have to inject it in the fat. Now, there are pluses and minuses to injecting it in the fat. The plus is that it's not as painful and it's much easier to inject in the fat. You can basically see your belly fat and just like inject it there. You barely feel anything. But the minus is that you're going to have some lumps there. And from my experience, I'm getting some redness after I inject it, and the area is pretty sore afterwards. So I'm hoping that my body is sort of gonna adapt to it. I'm also like not injecting too much. And what I'm doing is, instead of injecting 0.5 ml once a week, because my goal is to inject around 125 milligrams of testosterone, I'm splitting it over 2 times. So every 3 days, I would inject around 60 to 70 milligrams of testosterone, and I'll inject it into different areas so that, you know, the area doesn't get as sore. And in this method, you basically keep your testosterone levels a little bit more stable compared to, say, injecting yourself with 0.5 ml at the beginning of the week and then having like a peak of testosterone and then dropping. Also, it lowers the aromatization of the testosterone. Basically, when your body is flooded with testosterone, it starts converting it to estrogen, and you don't want that. So what I'm doing is basically giving my body the testosterone a bit by bit so it doesn't convert too much of it into estrogen. Anyways, I'm going to be making a blood test in a few days just to see, you know, how my body is reacting to the testosterone. Are my hormone levels in check and whatnot? But let me tell you, what I expected to feel when I decided to hop on TRT and what was the actual outcome, because it's slightly different than what I expected. So I don't know, when I started, most people will just tell you you're gonna have like much more energy, much more motivation, better mood, better performance at the gym, you're gonna be more sexual, you're gonna have higher libido and whatnot. My experience is a little bit different. So something that I realize is, yes, I am more sexual, I have more libido, I'm waking up like hard pretty much every day, which is a great sign. I stopped waking up hard like long ago. And for reference, my previous testosterone levels were around 15 nmol, whatever that means. It's different from the American units, but it would put you like right in the middle of the range. I think in the American units it's around like 500. So it'll put you in the middle of the range, and I wanted to be at the top of the range. Now I expected to have like better mood. I mean, the main goal of taking the testosterone was, to have better mood, better motivation in terms of work and whatnot. And I can't say that I feel better. Like, I can't say that my mood has gotten better, or, at least not noticeably better. Like, I'm feeling pretty much the same. My body is responding better at the gym 100%. Like, I am much stronger, getting bigger pumps. I'm not sore for too long after the workouts. I'm recovering like pretty quick. Like, I'm already seeing changes on my body. And I know from like my previous experience with testosterone that I respond pretty well to testosterone. I basically get a Greek god body when I hop on testosterone. I think another contributing factor to it is that I take my workouts more seriously, because I know that I'm going to see results. I know that my body is going to respond to the workouts, and therefore I take them more seriously. I train a little bit harder. But definitely, if I was like 100% natural and I trained as hard as humanly possible, like, my body reached a point where it doesn't respond as well as it used to be. So now, I'm seeing better results, and I'm gonna be working harder on my body, maybe like increasing the workouts from 3 times a week or 4 times a week to 7 or 6. Depends if I feel like it or not. Maybe I'm gonna be adding like cardio and whatnot. One thing else that I'm realizing is like I'm more prone to taking risk now. I don't know if that's just in my head or not, but I feel like I'm kind of more driven to jump and like take opportunities or make quick decisions that, before I wouldn't have done. And I'm not sure if it's the testosterone or not. I do feel like maybe I'm a little bit angrier sometimes. Like, my anger level is just a little bit higher. I'm just catching myself getting angry for no reason, just like thinking how people pissed me off at some point. It's like getting angry at them in my head, or like on some previous events for like no reason. Again, that could be just like the weather. Now autumn, this is like the depression season, when seasons are changing basically and the weather is not that great. Could be, I don't know. I'm gonna have to keep taking it and basically kind of report back. Now let's talk about my balls, because it's a very important topic, my balls. So my balls are starting to shrink very slowly. So the shrinkage is not that noticeable yet, but from taking testosterone before, I basically know where they're gonna get. Like at some point, the sack is almost gonna be empty. There's not gonna be much balls there. So I'm expecting that to happen, but I don't know, it does bother me. And on the other hand, I do realize that the advantages of taking testosterone might outweigh the disadvantages of like having my balls shrink. One disadvantage that I do not like is the sperm volume is getting less. Now, obviously, you have less balls, there's less place for sperm to be produced, and you're basically gonna have, weaker ejaculations. That's just the nature of it. So if you decide to hop on testosterone, say goodbye to those crazy ejaculations that you had before, especially if you had them. I know personally that, when I was young, my ejaculations were basically like showering the girl, like an insane facial. And now It's not the case. It's just like 2 to 3 good shots and that's it. And that's just a side effect of taking the testosterone. You have to keep that in mind. Anyway, I think I covered pretty much everything about what's going on with me in terms of taking testosterone. I'm gonna keep you posted anyways. You know, maybe the actual effects are gonna be, you know, few months down the road. Maybe I have to up my dosage a little bit to feel the actual effects. I have no idea, but I'm already feeling some effects even though I'm taking like really low dose. Again, I'm gonna taste my testosterone level with a blood test and let you know where am I standing on the testosterone level chart, because I'm also curious about that. Like, am I within the range? Am I like higher or how much higher? Because I remember previously I used to inject myself with testosterone and the range is like between 9 to 30, at least here in Europe, or 29. And when I injected myself, I went to make a blood test and I was 80 on the scale. So to remind you, like the maximum is like 29 and I was 80. I was like triple the natural levels of human beings. So hopefully I'm not this time. I'm trying to take as minimum as possible to stay within the range. And I'm gonna be reporting back about my testosterone journey within a month or so. So stay tuned for that. I thank you guys for watching. If you like this video or you didn't like it, just press whatever buttons, dislike or like. I really appreciate it. It does help the algorithm. Also, make sure to just comment whatever nonsense in the comment section below. Again, it helps the channel, it helps the videos. And if you are interested in such videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on videos like this one in the future. And anyways, I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye-bye.